this is what I have of the Joker so far. Today was a day in which I worked on the back, since I pretty much have the sides done, and I have a majority of the front done too. I think for the front, any work was pretty much limited to little touch-ups. To account for air pockets and a little work to complete the snakeskin pattern that I decided to go for with the belt. I first completed the belt during the morning hours of roughly 6 to 9 in the morning. And then I spent the rest of the morning hours and the afternoon hours when Dad was at his house working on the floors and some touch-up painting. I spent that time working on these stripes. A stripe pattern takes a surprisingly large amount of time, since I have to be careful to try and keep the line straight. As I work on a stripe pattern. I remember during the morning hours I had some coffee and 2 pieces of zucchini bread that Dad gave me. It was sometime between 7 and 8 in the morning. Then around 1, I remember having the last leftovers of the homemade chicken gravy and biscuits. Which I microwaved for 1.5 minutes instead of 2 minutes, because it seemed there was less than the last time around. I haven't really gotten an opportunity to work on the new Joker styrofoam drawing since 4 p.m., which was when Dad and I went out to pick up his friend Bill, and then Dad told me earlier today that we were going to go out somewhere. I assumed we were initially going to go to Salvatore's. But then later, Dad initially thought of going to Perry's. But then when we got to the Perry's pub location, it seemed like there were quite a few people, at least according to him. The parking lot didn't seem exactly full to me. Though I could see some cars in there. And so then Dad thought of a choice between either going to Tryon City Tavern or to somewhere else, but we ultimately ended up going to Tryon City Tavern. Of which, while there, I had two beers and then a glass of water. When Dad's friend Sean had bought the last round, or at least brought out the last round. Dad and his friends, for the most part, had aluminum cans of Genesee Light, though they called them Jennies for short, which at one point resulted in me accidentally calling Dad's friend Maggie Jenny. Bill was with us from the very start since we picked him up. Maggie came relatively early on. Then Sean came later. Maggie ordered some pretty good appetizers, which some pretty good appetizers, and then she shared them with her friends. Which allowed me to try some more of Tryon City Tavern's menu. Before Dad and I's order of 16 chicken wings, of which I got roughly half. For the sauce, we went with the Korean sweet and sticky. It seemed delicious to me from the start. And chicken wings are always delicious. Although Dad noted that they seem smaller than they were last week. Not that I can confirm that definitively, since I wasn't at Tryon City Tavern last week. They did seem generally a bit on the small side, though. Ultimately, I took a picture of them for the photo part at the beginning, so you can see that for yourself. If you press 0 on your keyboard, if you're watching this on YouTube and the video is in focus, since that's a shortcut YouTube has in place. Pressing 1 brings you to the 10% mark of the video, 2 the 20% mark, 3 the 30% mark, and so on. The first beer I got was a Corona Light, glass bottle, and then the second was a Roybach Hazy Jane IPA. That I remember being in some kind of glass. More likely a glass than a plastic glass. Maggie got appetizers such as loaded fries, which were essentially French fries with queso and bacon bits on top of them. I ultimately had a few of the fries, and then a few again later, after she was completely done with her fries and didn't want to take them home because she got a kind of sandwich to go with those loaded fries. She also got an order of pizza logs with marinara sauce, and then she also got some mac and cheese, all in all, it gave me flashbacks into Amanda in Philly. It's a Mexican tapas restaurant, so it had all of these nice little appetizers that you can share with the whole table. And they're all delicious and unique in their own way. Though I have to admit, while the mac and cheese was still good, it was nothing compared to the queso they use for the loaded fries. That stuff was so good that at the end I used a fork just like this one to lap it up. To scoop it up and then put the fork directly in my mouth. I had roughly half of our order of chicken wings, which was supposed to be 8 since it was an order of 16, although I counted them at first, but then I lost count because during our time at Tryon City Tavern, I alternated between making conversation with Dad and his friends and playing on my smartphone. Towards the end of our visit, I got a bit of a stomach ache. I'm not sure, most likely maybe that's due to gas buildup, possibly due to all the stuff I ate, maybe, and having those 2 beers. Although, I'm not entirely sure on that. One thing I do know is that as we got later into the visit at Tryon City Tavern, I became more exhausted to the point where by the time we were dropping Bill back off at his apartment home, I was nodding off in the front passenger seat of the car. But I managed to stay awake with a little help from Bill. That is making noise. By kind of hitting like this, that area you can get to of a car door by rolling the window down all the way. Bill kind of hit that area like this in order to make some noise, to get me out of the nod. And after that point, I didn't really have too much trouble. And I ended up falling asleep roughly around, I would say around 8 p.m. or so. Sometime around there. Maybe 7:30 p.m. Around 2 p.m., I got this out of a pull-out drawer inside of Dad's fridge. And drank it to about here, taking a little break to kind of defocus and relax while I was working on the stripe pattern for the back of the pants of the new Joker drawing. And ever since then, I haven't really thought of drinking from that bottle anymore.